Hey there, YouTube. This is going to be my first video in a series I have of the top 20 HLTV players of 2022. Starting off at number 20, one of my favorite players, JAME. JAME time, legendary AWPer, IGL of this Outsiders, formerly Virtus Pro squad. Probably any day now they'll get their name changed back to Virtus Pro. Essentially the same squad. However, they did recently take out Buster and who else did they take out? 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶𝐒. 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶 went over to Team Liquid. They picked up Norbert and Fame. As we know, they ended up winning the major. JAME won major MVP. Fame, this kid out of Russia, he's like 18, 19 years old, and he's like #1 face at ELO EU. He's just an insane gamer. For this video, we're gonna watch a POV of JAME when they went up against MOUZ in Legend stage on Overpass. Incredible game from him. He went 29-11. He played MOUZ later on in the event on Overpass and also went 27-11. Two insane performances on Overpass back to back. So without further ado, we're gonna slide into this POV of JAME. All right. So Outsiders here, they look to group up just towards this B area. Usually Outsiders are known for going very slow, very methodical, even in their pistol rounds. But the beauty of that is sometimes you can send some really quick execs and teams will not expect it because you're like, hey, we're playing against the Outsiders, what the hell's going on? So the Outsiders, they just hit them with a quick B hit, just obliterated this MOUZ squad, start things off the rip. You know, it's the AWPer as the IGL, nothing more you like than a quick hit to start things off, just a flawless exec, not even losing a single member. So yeah, JAME, he had an incredible performance in this game. Should be interesting to see how he commands his team. He's one of the few AWP IGLs in the top 30. We've got JAME, who's doing it for Outsiders. We got 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐿, who's doing it for Heroic. I think Woody's maybe IGL for, yeah, Woody's IGL for Fluxo when he's AWP IGLing. Probably forgetting one other person, but I am a fan of watching the AWP IGLs. Honestly, I think Cloud9, if they put 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐿 as AWP IGL for a little bit to experiment, let's get another heavy firepower to potentially replace Inters. I think that could be really interesting. Maybe free up Nafny from the IGL role as well. Embrace more of a entry fragging role. Right now, we're talking about JAME. JAME is Brazil AK. This is the event of the year. They were able to win this entire major. No one was expecting Outsiders to win this major coming into this. Pretty much no one got the full diamond coin. JAME has a lot of international fans. He was leader of Avantgarde for a while as well. He's got a unique IGL style, definitely. Their strategies revolve around a lot of long-term economic decisions where it ends up being a lot of saves. And here you see their methodical pace. They burned 1 minute and 20 seconds a clock against MOUZ here, and just nothing has happened thus far. Just a quick heaven smoke. It's like, all right, guys, we're gonna have to hit it. Bait out the heat grenades. He's got a little lineup, nade and a flash to get his team out there. JAME is often known to pretty much be setting his team up in these games. So these are one of the games where you just had a monster just kill performance. A lot of times you'll see JAME with just like single-digit deaths. But here, he actually gets his kills as well to complement that. Pistol round, it was interesting to see him essentially entry fragging without any utility, because a lot of times he is in the back on T side with the op, setting up his team with plays. You know, JAME is an IGL that kind of commands a lot of resources. Sometimes you'll see his squad end up with just a deagle so that he can have an op instead of them having 2 rifles, for example. And sometimes it really pays off. The op impact, having a reliable opper in the server can make big things happen for you. And look at his aggressive positioning, just walking all the way through sight, not a single footstep. He's made so much space this round, it's unreal. There's no way they know he's all the way behind him. Like just an assassin sleuthing, and he's like, wait for me, guys. Frozen, he knew it was possible. The angle was just too filthy. Now he's mopping up that eco. Ooh, James like, oh, plus 600 times 4, 2400 whop in the bank from him that round. That's a beautiful start. That gets you the op on round 4 on your T side. You don't have to go for a bonus. He's a man on a mission. He's gonna hold the bomb, hold this long A push. It's like he has Dragon Lore op equipped. JAME is looking stylish. A couple of his stickers from previous majors. JAME is not really often discussed among the top oppers. Just, I think honestly is part of it, just because he's in that IGL role. It's kind of hard to kind of rank the op IGL hybrids like 𝐂𝐒 and JAME with all the other more like pure oppers like 𝐂𝐒, 𝐂𝐒, Simple, Dexter. Outsiders down a man here. These are almost the situations where they would consider it a save. But they're feeling pretty good about going for an 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐄𝐒 here. Kicker able to pick up that play. JAME, as you see, a lot of supporting flash, a lot of supporting util. And he jumps there inadvertently. Ooh, that could be a tilter, but his teammate actually is able to drop him an AWP as well. He gets ops back to back. That's just the beauty of being JAME. You know, kind of unlimited supply of ops sometimes is what you see there. A little bit of a GoTV bug, making his op looking a little chicka. Can make a beat with that glow stick there, bring it to a rave. Anyway, JAME, I'm a bit distracted, but JAME is not. This guy was in the zone, which enabled him to get this major MVP. Just great IGLing, great clutching out of these series from him. Great fragging. JAME kind of proving that there's a method behind the madness. Definitely an iconic CSGO player at this point. Was cool to see him make the list. Some people would think he'd potentially belong a little higher on the top 20 list. Just a lot of supporting flashbangs from JAME. They even tossed him a bunch in the back. Trying to bait out a peek from MOUZ. He flubs one, but he hits the second. Josie, you know, even the best miss sometimes, Chad. Even the best miss sometimes. JAME here gonna be forced into a save. I guess that's the beauty of having the opper in the back with the supporting flashbangs when the round is lost. This was before the 5-bullet nerf to the AWP as well.
Counter-terrorists win.
So this could be one of those rounds where he just goes very slow. You see some of his teammates have a Glock. You'd think like, oh, you're the player with the big gun. You're gonna have to make the play. No, I think James still gonna play fairly reserved, but actually taking a bit of a more aggressive line, knowing he has to make something happen there, help get his team a gun. He's able to pluck the IGL of MOUZ there. IGL on IGL violence action. Dexter, I do notice he does a lot of like wide swings on CT. Sometimes it can like pay off. It seems like Outsiders will definitely punish when it comes to that. This combo of JAME and Fame just feels like a match made in heaven. The fragging young gunner. Fame, just a wee lad, teenager. JAME has been in the scene over half a decade doing this up IGL thing. Picking some youngins up under his wing. Showing them the ropes. Winning major. Can't say winning majors yet. A lot of people are saying this major run was kind of fluky. The Outsiders didn't really have any other events they won outside of this, but I mean, you beat the team Heroic that also beat Furia on LAN, the same LAN in Brazil. Heroic can beat them, but you make Heroic look silly. I mean, Outsiders just played incredibly well this event. I'm sure teams will still give them the respect they deserve coming into the new year, but it's a disappointing show from them at Blast Finals. It's a bit unexpected. But you know, winning the major, losing Blast Finals, hey, I'm sure they're happy with that. People may wonder, why is JAME not way higher in the top 20? It's just previous year he was ranked number 10. This year they won a major. It's not just about winning one big event, it's about kind of consistency throughout the year. Well, JAME just lost the op fight with 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶 there. 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶, another interesting player, young opper out of MOUZ. He was looking to be the highest impact fragger on the squad for a while. Since they've had kind of new players, Exertion come in, 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶's perhaps taken a bit more of a supportive element to the game. Yeah, this is just a save round for Outsiders. They're not really doing much at all here. P250. No. Outsiders are known to be a very patient team. Just make any mistakes, a little over aggression, they will seize on it. MOUZ are familiar with that. So you heard the player advance. Oh, but Sershin just so aware. JAME back at home here. He's got the AWP back in his hands. He's feeling like he's in his element. He does frag out in this VOD. 29 kills, 11 deaths. Definitely not an easy task. JAME expecting that boost. A spot that he actually likes to play himself a lot. JAME's got a flash lineup for anything. First throws one to clear long bath, then he's gonna throw one to clear that long A position. Then gets one off that, gets traded by Frozen. JAME just kind of flushing Dexter out the last 3 or 4 rounds in that long A area. Certainly kind of feeling like he's got found a bit of a gap. His team's sending it B. He's gonna throw a little heaven smoke, try to get onto the site. Convinced someone's gonna peek this gap. He was seemingly not really worried about that monster flank. Oof. Nice kill to take off 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐄𝐒 as well. I guess he just figured the monster flank, it's like gotta walk the whole way and it's just a really long path. So he's like not even gonna worry about it. JAME is often the one they have just holding on to the bomb. It makes sense, kind of playing in the back, not exposing himself to that spam from the B bomb site. Outsiders, their signature slow style here. Oh, definitely some interesting smoke lineups you see out of JAME here this game. Opposing Opper takes out his teammate on this A area. He knows he can't clear that by himself. Opts for another B hit. I mean, it worked last round. Might as well do it again. Surely JAME will rain some util from above, but his whole squad is deceased. He's got to get the heck out of there. Life of JAME. Sometimes it's a sad, lonely life. The back, see all your squad get murdered. It's the phenomenal kill. Absolutely surrounded though. They did not want him to save that up. They delivered. JAME now forced to use the collision above. No op. He does not feel comfortable. Dexter finally gets the better of him in that exchange, giving up that early first death. Ultimately, his team not able to win out that round. Some util to flush the player out of that balloons area. JAME is a chemist with the utility, raining it in from the back line. It's interesting how JAME's kind of always had the same role on his organization. And he's been with this VP squad for 3, almost 4 years. He was with Avangard for a couple of years, but always kind of the same role. Op, IGL. There was a point where he was a bit more aggressive with opping, even doing some entry fragging and stuff like that. I think just as he got older and wiser, he realized, you know, not really the job of the op tier 1 CS to kind of run it down on T side and make a play. Then again, you have teams like G2 with 𝐂𝐿𝐿. Sometimes 𝐂𝐿𝐿 can get some filthy entries with that op. And outsiders, they definitely kind of rely on, you know, since JAME is the opper and the IGL, that kind of frees them up to have just 4 solid, strong riflers just focused on fragging, as opposed to 1 rifler that's an IGL. It's got, like, you know, there are some teams like G2, FaZe, that their IGL kind of lower fragging power. Could argue is kind of a weakness, but hey, it's also been shown to be a recipe for success for the FaZe clan, especially in the first half of the year. Second half of the year was a bit of a collapse, but honestly, the first half of the year was so strong from FaZe. You're still going to see a lot of those players in the top 20. They were still the team of the year. I'm sure they'll win team of the year. It's not even a clear, like, second. Just kind of wild. Could say, like, heroic second, maybe. Outsiders, despite winning the major, winning 1 major. I mean, that's really the only significant deep run they did. I think, well, they did win a smaller ESL event. I think Valencia, maybe. That was kind of cool to watch them. Yeah, I think it was like a month before the major. Watch them lift a trophy. I was like, that's pretty dope. And they did it in the big leagues as well. JAME, you know, often just kind of, like in this round, just way back with his homies. The back of the squad. Letting them put in the work, the young guns. While he's just, you know, living the good life. Tossing a bit of util. Taking it easy. It was 6 rounds on T side overpass. Certainly can take it easy. This map has just gotten insanely CT sided over time, honestly. We're like, oh, an ancient, you know, a lot of teams, they just need to figure out how to play T side better, and maybe it'll be a more even map, or maybe it'll just get even more CT sided. Feels like Overpass just keeps getting more CT sided, but now that they've had the op nerfs, the A1S nerfs, that could potentially change things. Make it just a tad different, Dexter finally wins that IGL exchange. Catching JAME in transition there a bit. Oh, MOUZ failed both of their mollies that round. JAME is like, alright, this gives me an opportunity. Stifle any aggression. I feel like if you swing out long A and you're up against JAME, you die to him, you're like, should have seen that coming. Just a really easy angle to hold, not really any threat from the other sides of the map. And if CTs are able to just run up long A over and over again, without anyone holding it, it can be powerful, but tier 1 CS, you're not really gonna see that too much. JAME's just gonna look to flash in his squad here. There was a nice pop flash, enable his teammate to get a kill. But ultimately, they're in a 2 versus 4 situation. JAME, another flash. Once again, finds themselves in the way back, trying to make something happen. Nice shot onto Dexter there. Dexter was able to get a couple bullets in his chest. Frozen, another solid player, likely to end up in the top 20 of this year. Just chilling behind that smoke, ice cold, taking out JAME. But look, Outsiders, 6 rounds on CT. Pretty good way to start it. James' movement was a little weird there. I feel like he was kind of communicating with his squad, like, what's going on, guys? He was kind of walking into a wall. I think that's just kind of like, sometimes like IGLs, you'll see them just kind of, you can tell they're kind of talking about other stuff, thinking about stuff. Where in like certain players, like pure riflers, you don't really see those kind of moments from them quite as much. JAME could feel the long A lurk coming. Does ultimately take down Frozen there. Squad rotates to shut down the short A hit. Outsiders are looking to have a stalwart defense on the CT side. JAME's gonna be the guy for the Molly lineups, playing this A side. JAME is a player that likes to use the ump on second round a lot. One of the very few pros that use the ump on second round these days. There was a period of time where the ump was just absolutely ridiculous, but now it's a very niche weapon. Let's see maybe JAME and maybe just a couple other players in tier 1 CS really ever whip out the ump. Just a little bit better range than the MP9, but the MP9 is just such a solid gun, honestly. It's kind of hard to justify going ump sometimes. Look at that. JAME gets 3 with the ump. The madman, the time wizard delivering. This is that boosted spot. Like I said, that JAME likes to play a lot. He likes to pre-aim it on T side because he knows how powerful it can be. This is a pretty comfy position for him that he likes to play often. I mean, once you get spotted here once or twice, you can't really keep playing it, especially once the T side gets ops, but not gonna get JAME off of his perch too easily once he gets comfy there. And he plays just more of a passive style on A, not really forcing anything with the op there. Pre-aims the boost instead of the wide peak, which kind of makes sense. Tier 1 pro CS, a lot of times you're gonna have, you know, people might jump spot, they might boost. There's a couple possibilities over the flowers. If they swing out, it'll likely be off a flashbang. A dry swing out would be not the most common. Interesting to see the line JAME takes. Fairly, not the most aggressive we see from CT side overpass offers for sure. That's just in general. He definitely kind of likes to stay kind of closer to the spawn position as a T and as a CT side than most oppers in general. Certainly he has the capability to be an aggressive CT side opper, but likes to be a supportive element as well for his team with a lot of utility. Kind of play good, solid team CS. Fight together when the team's exec site. No need for any heroics with the op. He's a little unsure where he's rotating. They don't really have any of that info in the bathrooms. See simple play around this angle a lot often as well. You can kind of see through that truck to give you some good info. Oh. 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶 definitely caught a bit of a timing there, but was unable to connect. Outsiders here, they already tied up the score. JAME knows he's up against pistols. Oh shit. Lost 2 members of his squad. Does he go for the wall bang dice? No. Ooh. I have a goofy looking double scope flick there. Like, it was the site he was holding. He didn't even really see anyone until the last player died. Wise to play, at least not lose his life against pistols. Saving his life just gave Fame the time he needed to rotate. James kind of pretty consistently throwing this molly to stifle any early A aggression, just backing up Fame with some util towards his A side. He's been looking like a tough nut to crack from his defensive position. Just not an easy player to kill whatsoever. Not really making any mistakes for MOUZ to exploit. I mean, he is giving up kind of that short A area bathroom. If you're in a ranked game, you rotate to B early, your team would be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing here, bro? There's no one short A. What you doing, bro? You know, JAME squad, they have belief in him. JAME doesn't think they'll try to hit A again. Sometimes outsiders will do just a heavy stacking style. Looks like they are hitting James' site. You know, he only had time for a single shot there. Happy to just play with his squad, send in a henchman, then JAME will clean up. Also, it feels like he played this round kind of very, like, scared. But ultimately, I think he just realized, like, look, we're gonna tuck tail and run here. The only real way we hold this side is if JAME, you know, gets that entry onto player short A before falling off and gives outsiders kind of the man advantage in the retake. Just even numbers on the retake. He did not like their odds. He didn't even want to press it whatsoever. At least not with the AWP. He does have enough for an AWP next round. I wonder if his team has a full buy around him. It would definitely be a JAME thing for someone to have like an MP9 instead of him dropping him one. He'd be like, nah, man, you just gotta use an MP9. I'm saving for AWP, bro. But here, the score all tied up. At this point, it doesn't really feel like he's had like a monstrous performance that he ultimately does end up, you know, having in this game. 29-11 in regulation. Perhaps we will see some chunky rounds out of him in the meantime. Loses his teammate on A. Feels like forced to make a play here. Really aggressive line from JAME here. Ooh. The way JAME played that situation was just actually pretty beautiful. Nice aggression in that short area, and the long player thought he had to jump on him, but JAME was just so ready for it. That smoky toss was perfect. Even when he saw that player's position, just took his time. So that was a beautiful round out of JAME. Those are the rounds that win you majors. Here he takes a rare, very aggressive line. Kind of barely makes it out there. catches 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶 on the jump peek. 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶's gotta be like, what the hell? Face it, no one ever picks me off like that. Yeah, well, you're up against the time wizard, JAME the Almighty. He knows all. 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶, you're the young buck. Gonna teach you a lesson. There's more aggressive plays from JAME with the shotgun off. Ooh. Without that flash from exertion, might have had a third. His team did ultimately winning that round. He still got another op in hand. Even upgraded to the Gungnir here with the dig hollow, looking crispy, looking buttery smooth. MOUZ here. Fairly typical T-side overpass, you know, not a ton of super fast execs, just it's a map where, you know, kind of just map control is key. It's not a very exec heavy map like Train, you know, like Overpass, you got to get control of a lot of areas before you strike, but ultimately MOUZ just sent it up monstered. He let his boy 𝐂𝐒𝐒 put in the work. MOUZ are kind of tired of trying to pluck out JAME from that bathroom position, but they ran into a 𝐂𝐒𝐒 ace actually. 𝐂𝐒𝐒, the player people often kind of cite as the weaker ones on outsiders, but honestly, I think he's a solid player. Sometimes he doesn't brag out that much, but kind of does the dirty work. A bit of a beast in his own right. Sometimes he'll step up in big moments. Finding yourselves down 10-13 on T-side Overpass. When you're in Tier 1 Counter-Strike at a major, at a LAN. Oof. Not where you want to be. It's a really slow round out of MOUZ here. 30 seconds left. They're stuck in a 4v5. The famed JAME wombo combo in the bathroom. This JAME is so hard for them to pry. They're like, alright, we'll go long, try to avoid the op short. But really, JAME just has a disgusting angle here in the bath. You'll say JAME takes a pretty passive line on CT, but actually this like bathroom positioning has been just like really aggressive, like picking up that area with his teammate and just locking down. What does he go for, a connector peek? Oh, he gets clipped through the wall on his departure. Not the best parting gift. Is it, my friend? MOUZ once again doing these Navi style execs, just late round hits, keep them guessing. JAME guessing B doesn't pay off. He delivers on to Castro. Ooh, and he asks for a boost from his teammate, making it look easy. Now here, Outsiders at match point. Just defense looking frankly impenetrable. MOUZ unable to crack open that bomb site with 3 players. Then the 2 on the A side with JAME really just kind of put this game out of reach for MOUZ. Even though MOUZ had a pretty solid CT side, Outsiders getting 6, kind of showing that, I mean, at least the IM Rio majored. This was before the A1S nerf, so could have some kind of difference in the CT sidedness of Overpass. But really, this game just, Outsiders just seem to be the better Overpass team than MOUZ. Certainly, there are some maps where MOUZ were looking really dominant in Inferno. MOUZ absolutely trounced Team Liquid on Inferno in this event. A lot of really solid teams on Inferno. The Outsiders also plays a lot of Inferno. Share a decent amount of a map pool. Just when it looks like things are easy for the Outsiders, Fame and JAME in a 2v3. Oh, and they make quick work. And there we have it, folks. That is GG. I appreciate everyone watching the video. Thought review of JAME. He hit number 20 ranked player on HLTV of 2022. If anything, I would have placed him a little bit higher, but it should be interesting to see how he's on the list. Major MVP, major winner. It's a really solid player in the 2022 season. Definitely an interesting demo to watch. We'll be watching more demos of all the players in HLV top 20. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great year.